Hi. Last time I took you on a ride on why Europe needs Coronabonds. And from then on, some time passed, I discussed with many people about it, I lay in the sun, I thought about it, I thought too much about it, got a sunburn, and now I'm back here again to answer two important questions which came up. Which is, how is the money spent and how is it paid back? But before we come to this, I want to clarify one thing first. Someone commented that Germans shouldn't use humor. And I have to say, that's racist. And I'm deeply offended by it. Ramco. So now the question how Corona bonds actually work. So Europe as a whole borrows money collectively. So it would be best if it spends money collectively. But for that, you need a European government. And you don't have that. You just have 27 governments. And each and every one of them spends money on their own. Let's say you're a group of 28 people and you borrow money together. And one spends it to start a company. The other one spends it on a vacation and the third one spends it to write a book. But then, after a while, the company gets broke. The vacation got cancelled because Corona time. And the book was actually a bestseller, of course. So now he or she who wrote the book actually guarantees that the debt is repaid just because the others used their money so irresponsible. Because we all know writing a book is very responsible and most of all, profitable. So profitable. Really? So it's not nice for the author, since he or she didn't have any say on how the others spent the money, but he has to pay the check. So a European government would erase this problem, but that's a far way to go. So since you can't spend your money collectively, maybe you can at least regulate how you will pay it back. So for this you need a finance minister who can levy taxes. And I know taxes are not the most prominent thing. You know, some people use it to finance football stadiums instead of hospitals like Mr. Orban did. But some people also use them to finance the police or kindergartens or, give money to the poor. So basically you can think of a finance minister who can tax as someone like Robin Hood. And we are all Prince Johns. Well, you didn't think of this, did you? Well, I assure you, on your next trip to Amsterdam, you will get it. You will get it, definitely. Of course, even Robin Hood cannot tax as he likes, otherwise people will vote him out in the next Sherwood Forest election and replace him with Little John or Marianne or Hodor, because everyone loves Hodor. So there's always some control over what to tax. But in the EU there is not one Robin Hood, but 27 of them. And they all tax their citizens individually. And then they come together and discuss about how much money they will give to the EU. So Hodor has to find an agreement with Tywin Lannister. And this can take a long time, not only because of the language barrier. Seriously, the EU is arguing for months now if the budget will be 1% of the GDP or 1.1% of the GDP. So if you thought Dany was taking her time to set sail for Westeros, you clearly haven't witnessed EU budget discussions. And this is not good for investors, because would you lend your money to the Seven Kingdoms and just hope they will cooperate in paying you back? If you do, you should take your Corona time and start watching Game of Thrones. Seriously, it's good. So the solution to this constant arguing would be a European Robin Hood who could raise taxes. Because then not only single countries have to pay it back, but European citizens who pay their taxes to the EU. So I know this is basically fantasy. Fairy tale, like European government, European finance minister, so on. Come on. Yeah, that's sad. So probably we can start by changing the voting system for taxes, because right now, to issue a new tax on an EU level, every country has to say yes. So if one country says no, there's a veto and there is no new tax. But to change this, every country has to say yes. A fantasy. So with the current European governments, you won't get the best solution, which is a European government, not the second best solution, which would be a European Robin Hood, and not even the third best solution, which would be a European tax. So, after we clarified this, let's see what's feasible. Brace yourself, details are coming. The easiest thing, if you will, would be using an instrument from the Euro crisis, the European Stability Mechanism, the ESM. It is basically a treasure chest, with a sign signaling to investors, your money is safe. It has not one Robin Hood either, but also not 27 Robin Hoods, but only 19 of them. Because the members of the ESM are just these countries who use the euro. So they are the Euro Robin Hoods, if you will. So these 19 Euro Robin Hoods put money in the treasure chest. And it has even a little twist to it. Because the European Central Bank may, if it needs, print money and put it in the treasure chest too. So it's a magical treasure chest that will do everything it takes to pay its investors back. So Coronabonds would mean that countries just put in more money into the chest. And this would allow them to borrow more money from investors. Because investors don't only want to rely on magic, but they want to see real coin. And then the Euro Robin Hoods lend this money to countries, for example to Italy or Spain, for lower interest rates than they would actually have to pay on the market. But they may set conditions to these lendings. So for example that they can only spend it in healthcare or anything. Though because the coronavirus is a natural catastrophe, these conditions should be very, very minimal. And when the crisis is over and the economy is recovering, the countries who lend money from the ESM can pay the ESM back. So they wouldn't be real Corona bonds, but still, when the conditions are very low, it comes close to it. Yes, it's all rather complicated, but I wanted you to understand that when the best solutions are blocked, it's not easy to find a solution. And because this topic is so delicate, I didn't even try to make a joke in the last few minutes. Happy now, Remco? However, these Corona bonds can only be a short-term solution. In the long run, Europe needs real bonds, Euro bonds. But these Euro bonds will only come true if we have a European government or a European Robin Hood. But maybe we can take one step towards it. We could issue a first and one-time only European tax to pay back some of the debt. For example, we could tax the wealthiest 1% of Europe. So in a reasonable way and one time only, so they don't run off to UK or Switzerland. This way not Germany or France or Italy or any other nation state has to pay everything back, but the richest 1% of Europe has to contribute more than they usually do. This could be a test run if this tax thing in Europe works. And we could call this the European Robin Hood tax. See you soon.